Welcome back. It is Sports Central. My name is Vladimir Kim. The guy's still with me in the studio, but a quick substitution is taking place as we're about to look at the Africa Games. With David making a way out and Akanemo Akufre joining the conversation. I've already done the introduction with Mara Akanemo Akufre. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Blyden. It's good to have you here.
Well, a second show back to back for you. Yeah. Yesterday you were here talking about your local government at the Governor's Cup, and sadly they lost. We'll talk about that in the course of it before we transcend to talk about the football stories.
I wish you reduce the time that we talk about the youth.
Well, here's what we'll do, Blyden. 50-50.
Absolutely.
We have to talk about you and then talk about the All African Games.
Right. Just use 5 seconds.
Well, if you're wondering why he doesn't want us to talk about Uyo losing at the Governor's Cup, the reason is they lost. And that's it, as simple as that. So he doesn't want to talk about the side losing. Let's quickly move to the Africa Games and talk about the Africa Games. We saw Team Nigeria finish second at the Africa Games that took place in Ghana, where the conversation wasn't just about the fact that they finished second. We saw some records in javelin, fantastic. Chinecherem also giving the number world record, and it makes sense from that angle. And Nigeria ended up having 121 gold medals, 121 medals rather, 47 gold medals. On the other hand, 33 silver medals and about 41 bronze medals. And this man was live and direct in Ghana, looking at proceedings, and I'll go to him straight. Akanemo Akufre, a wonderful time it was. We spoke at a time where you were in Ghana following the games. What stood out for you at the games, the Africa Games?
What stood out for me would be the motivation from Nigerian side, because a lot of them came from a very poor preparation. And then another take home was from the Ghanaians, the order, the magnitude of quality they put into the games, especially the wonderful edifice they had at the University Stadium. It's uncomparable to some of the stadiums we have here. And then the facility at Botima, where they put in, according to report, about 140-something million US dollars to set up that sporting facility. Yeah. It was massive.
Now, let's. You mentioned preparations, as a factor for Nigeria's performance at the All African Games. Despite all of that, we finished second, like Baden mentioned, 121 medals total. And the major gold mine for Nigeria was weightlifting. We had 16 gold medals in that particular event. Talk to us about what's been happening in that particular sport, despite the issue of poor preparation. Talk to us about how the athletes were able to work their way around winning Nigeria 16 gold medals in that sport.
Yeah, Nigeria has a good technical director and a good technical bench when it comes to weightlifting. And those boys came out with that was a big blast for Nigeria when we saw the medal holes there. But I want to specifically mention our homeboy who flew on flag there, talking about Didion Mafia. He made a good surprise for us because
won 3 gold medals.
Yeah, and he was the only male in the male category that won gold medal for Nigeria. So it was something of big encouragement. And when I met a former Olympian there, who was surprised to see me, and we became like a family bond, talking about the former PEMSEC.
Yeah, Lawrence.
Mr. Lawrence Ikwebum.
Yeah.
He was excited to see me, and I was excited to see him there because we almost had few people. I think nobody from Ikwebum I actually see there, apart from having athletes and a few coaches in judo. Where Enko was there, I saw her with the parents, and a couple of them did so well for Nigeria. Looking at Rutu Soro,
Patience Okon George, and the rest of them. Let's talk about the winners of this year's event, the Egyptians. And they were miles ahead of Nigeria. As a matter of fact, now you saw the events that they participated in. You saw how they prepared themselves. You saw the packaging for the Egyptians. What would you say was the defining factor for Egypt at the top and the other countries below them, including Nigeria?
First, I would say their participation in almost all the games, apart from athletics, where we were guaranteed of at least 10 medal haul. Yeah. So Egyptians were there in every aspect of the game.
Every single event.
Almost every event they were there. And one of the first events that took place before the official opening ceremony, which was table tennis. I remember there's a home girl at the backyard here of Yongedem saying that they didn't have enough preparation, exposure prior to that. And you see that they were also angry that the Egyptians have come to topple them in the first place when it comes to medal haul in table tennis. And also there was a part of a little bit of politics that was played. You see in the doubles that was played that she is the defending champion when it comes to her and her partner, Cecilia. But there was a drop in the partnership, and they lost there to the twin sisters
from Egypt.
Yeah, from Egypt in the table tennis. So I would say the Egyptians, apart from the discipline, these guys are close to Europe. They keep that discipline with their athletes. They don't joke with the preparation. So that is what I think that has given them a big advantage. And like we analyzed in Lagos, we are wondering now that they are going to host how the medal hall gap will be.
Exactly, and that's the next conversation. But before we talk about Egypt hosting in Blyden, let's talk about cricket because that's his constituency. As a matter of fact, the female Yellow Greens showed class. The first time we've seen cricket at the All African Games, and the girls went all the way to win bronze. Unfortunately, the men could not even qualify for the semi-finals. We'll talk about the men, but recently we've seen this progression for the women's team at the national level, the female Yellow Greens, and they went all the way to win bronze medal at the All African Games. Talk to us about the performance and what the fans of cricket should look forward to for Nigeria, especially in the women's category.
Okay, I will start with a kind of pride in talking about cricket. Once is because my territory,
obviously,
and also our girls made us proud. 5 of them from this place, Akwa Ibom State. They were the people that motivated me to join the team down there and to see their proceeding. And good enough, I would not regret that experience because they came with what some guys in cricket war said it was a golden bronze. So it was golden bronze for the ladies because nobody thought they can do that. The ministry did not believe in them. But one person that believed in them, Mr. Uyi Apata, the Federation President, the ministry could not capture them in the list of teams that they will carry. But Uyi Apata sponsored their trip, sponsored their accommodation, and eventually they turned out winners, shocking the likes of Namibia, shocking the likes of Tanzania, shocking the likes of they already lost to South Africa.
South Africa, yeah.
Then the only people that stopped them was Zimbabwe, who
Obviously.
played with carefulness. Because you need to see these teenagers, because the crop of them was with teenagers. Now they are comparing them to the male counterpart. You see that exposure comes from that when you have that experience much.
Yeah.
They were just, some of our girls were part of that South Female Cricket League. From that South Female Cricket League, barely 1 week after they went to the Invitational in Lagos. From Invitational in Lagos, they went straight into the games at Accra. So they were still with good match mentality.
What does the NCF need to do, and the girls as well, to get those girls to the level of Zimbabwe and South Africa, most especially?
I want to tell you that in fielding department, in bowling department, they are almost there. That will score them 90 or 85%. But the only challenge that we have in Nigeria, which a lot of people have been trying to correct, is the batting department. Because if you look at the games against South Africa, if we had scored up to, if the girls had scored up to 100 or 120, there's no way South Africa would have beaten them. And a turnout of events, a lot of things happened, played out, and South Africa had to call ICC, call the organizers to change the name of the representative. That is not South African team. Actually, we're thinking it's the 3rd team from South Africa because none of them would have been a match for the real men, senior teams of South Africa. But they now ended up saying, especially the men's event, that is university. So they had a whole lot of uproar came up in Ghana, why there was a change all of a sudden.
For the men's team, right? They've been poor, to say the least. Not just at the All African Games, before the All African Games, in different events. We've not been able to see, the same energy that the female put in their event, the men put in the same. We've not been able to see that. What has been the major challenge for the Yellow Greens? That has been the problem for them towards getting to winning competitions or at least making the podium, in this case, the All African Games.
Okay, for me, on a lighter note, I would say change the name. Yellow Greens, what does it mean? I'm not comfortable with that. But outside that,
that's like the next.
You hear the Patriot, you hear the rest of the names that are motivated.
Like the Super Eagles.
Yeah, it doesn't connote any power in it. So leave that aside. It's a lighter note. There's a lot of competition at that level. At the men's game. There's a lot of level of competition. So give it to them. But we still need the batting discipline, as I said. For the boys, your ability to stay in cricket. Cricket is one game that tries your patience so much. Your ability to stay in the storm, because it's like a firing squad. I mean, a firing range. You need to stay there and play out the overs. Once we have boys and men who can stay in their crease and play out their overs, not going out easily, not taken out easily, that's when we will make sure that we have, like the game we played.
Is there hope? No need to cut short.
There is hope that
get to that level.
There is hope we can do that. For instance, in preparation for the African Games, we had Tikulu coming.
Yeah.
If you look at the profile of Tikulu, he was one of the legends from Kenya. In his heydays, he took Kenya to the height of the game with his brothers and his teammates. So he was employed as our coach. Then before that, about 2 weeks or 2 months, about 2 months before leaving to that place, they brought in experts to help them in coaching,
right,
in bowling and batting from South Africa. So, but that time was not enough. But I want to tell you that with the facilities, like the indoor facilities that has been put up by a private concern in partnership with NCFA in Lagos, the cricket lab, where the coach can teach cricketers in night and in rainy season. So right. I think there will be improvement for our boys.
Right. Thank you, Kanimo Kufre. Thank you for coming on the show. I sure know you also observed the Legon stadium, 11,000 capacity.
Yeah, I mean, he talked about it yesterday.
And no wonder everyone is talking about Ghana at the moment. Most competitions, they want to take it to Ghana. But for now, it was Morocco. And that's what you get when you put good facilities in town for competitions. Other competitions get to or be hosted in the country. Thank you for being a part of the show. We have to talk about mainstream football now as fast as possible. And thank you. We'll go on another quick break. And when we're back, football stories around the world. Don't go anywhere.